So I just made a video in the last day or two about $30 trillion about to pour into Bitcoin ETFs apparently, or possibly. And there's some people that are, a bunch of people commenting on it, and people having issues with it. I think that's, buy the rumor, sell the news type of stuff. And, what I didn't understand until I got into Bitcoin was that Bitcoin breaks all the models. There's all these like euphemisms, all these analogies, all these sayings, cliches in Bitcoin. And the further you go down the road of understanding and studying Bitcoin, you start realizing there's a reason there's these cliches and these sayings. Bitcoin fixes this, Bitcoin breaks all your models, because it's true. And I've gone through that process myself. I've said this many times that Bitcoin's a gauntlet. Bitcoin's a process. Bitcoin's an evolution. Bitcoin's a learning process. It's not something you just get overnight. It's not something that you just are born with. We all have grown up in an inflationary world. That is the little trick in all this, that it's hard to understand right away. It's counterintuitive until it's not, and it becomes very intuitive. We live in a world where inflation is the only thing that has ever existed. Government-run fiat currencies, which, mind you, have all gone to zero all throughout human history because they are a rug pull. They are government stealing your wealth, your time and energy from you, which is your wealth. So I want to make this very clear that Bitcoin breaks all these models. In the short term, it could be a buy the rumor, sell the news type of event, and Bitcoin could go up and down. It will, because the value of the currency goes up and down. That's why Bitcoin's perceived dollar value, nominal value, goes up and down. Bitcoin is just Bitcoin. Bitcoin's energy. Bitcoin is time. It's the only finite asset we have that's compared to our finite time. So it's the only feasible fair trade that I see, your finite time for your finite Bitcoin. There's only so much Bitcoin. There's only so much time on Earth that you have. So why would I trade my finite time for infinite dollars, or trade my finite time for infinite blades of grass or infinite grains of sand? It's as simple as that. So the ETFs, these are all adoption things. This is why we talk about these things, because it's people starting to understand over time that Bitcoin is the way. Its deflation is the way. Jeff Booth's book, which is a phenomenal book, talks maybe a couple times, literally Bitcoin mentioned a couple times, I think, in the back of the book, and that's it. The whole book is about deflation, the price of tomorrow. And it's a phenomenal book. I suggest anyone go read it. And it talks about AI and the medical advances we're going to have, and 3D printing and robotics and all these different amazing things. But everything's deflation. We live in a world where we are constantly being hypocritical, from the 99% up to the 1%, to Greta, it doesn't matter. We live in an inflationary world where they're having to print more and 90-day cycles and earnings calls, but yet over here at the same time they're calling us useless eaters. Naval Harari saying we're useless people, that much of the society is useless, and we need to get rid of and depopulate the world because there's too much going on and they're wasting things, they're wasting resources. So which is it? Why are we constantly trying to get more materialistic, more printing, more currency, flooding the system, filling the holes in the Titanic with currency everywhere, and at the same time saying we can't be doing these things? Those two things aren't congruent. One's inflationary, one's deflationary. If we had a world with a neutral money that was based on energy, that captured deflation and distributed those benefits, not redistributed, but distributed all the effects of technology, all the winnings, all the progress, all the abundance back onto all the people. And that includes the 1%, and it went back to all the people and incentivized good behavior, incentivized working hard, incentivized equity and fairness and justice, incentivized saving in proper capital allocation. Why would we not do that? The whole process, I just answered one of the people's questions, and I was saying that the whole process of humanity has gone through this fiat currency, sound money and metals, to then fiat currencies, and the empire is destroyed. You have sound monies, it goes in its pendulum, goes back and forth. Mike Maloney has talked about this a lot. One of my biggest mentors 10, 15 years ago when I started getting into the space and understanding what money really was. And you have a sound money world with metals, and then it starts to get centralized, honey-potted into Fort Knox, into banks, the government, and then they start issuing claim checks on them more than they actually have in the actual redeemable existence. And then they start to suck away the time and energy of the people because of that and inflate the currency. And they're stealing all of your time and energy. And then eventually it's a frog in the boiling pot, and people don't realize until it's too late, and the society implodes on itself. The currency collapses. Again, all fiat currencies in human history I think there's like 600 to 1,000 of them or whatever or major ones in all of human history, or something around there. Again, from Mike Maloney years ago. I can't exactly remember. Trust but verify. They've all gone to zero. Every single one of them has failed. What makes us think we are different this time? What makes us think we are somehow more special than every other currency that existed? Empires that owned way more than we did. The British Empire, all these owned half the world, owned a lot of the world. Still do, maybe. That's a different for a different day. But we won't go down that road. So what makes us think we're different? We are going to suffer the same fate. This is why the dollar since 1913 has lost 99% of its value. And it will probably lose about 99% over the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years again. And people are shocked when I say that. Yet the debt continues to exponentially grow, because it has to with the debt-based system. So where do we go? Where do we go? I truly hope you are saving in an asset that is equal to your finite time and you cannot be rug pulled by. You're not saving in something, a currency, that can be counterfeited and printed into existence by someone else. Why would we keep doing this thing? This sound money, life is great, then we centralize it because gold and silver can't move over space quickly, obviously at the speed of commerce, then issued claim checks, inflation inflated away, currency is destroyed, empire collapses. And we would just repeat the process over again. Why would we start that psychotic loop over and over again if we actually have a new option now? We didn't have one for thousands of years. We didn't have an option like we do now. Now we have one. Why would we keep doing the same thing? The definition of insanity, as we all know, is doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. Well, the right person's in power this time. Joe Biden's in power. Donald Trump's in power. What does it matter? It's the same thing. It's a broken system, so you can't win inside the broken system. That's the game. That's the game being played on all of us. You don't win. Red versus blue is fake. 99% of people want the same thing. They want freedom. They want to be left alone, especially here in the West or in America. That's completely fake. The media divides people, politics, Hollywood, culture, academia. They divide everyone, polarization, hate, division, whatever, to create this tension, so people are distracted from what's really going on. It's the state versus you. It's not red versus blue. It's the money. It's the money, stupid. Right? The saying. It's the money. If we choose to keep using a government fiat currency that can be printed and manipulated by someone else that we have to pay taxes on and try to save, we will continue this doom loop forever. Until we choose and make the mental decision in a split second. That's how fast it could be. We're not talking like takes 3 years to figure it out and make a decision. It takes 1 second to make a decision, say, I'm not going to save in a currency that someone else can print and counterfeit. I will save my hard-earned time and energy. My wealth will be saved in an equally finite container. My finite time for my finite money. The only two things I know are time and you know what. I'm not even going to say it. I don't think I said the asset this time, the money this time. And hopefully it's starting to become obvious for people and seeing, wow, man, if things really started to change and I chose a different money, deflation, the world of deflation would be upon us, where we see it every day. Technology continually increases. A TV that was $10,000 20 years ago is now $500, the same TV or a better one. That's deflation. Imagine if that TV was $10 now or $20. It's only $500 still because they keep printing currency and it keeps elevating prices of things. And that's how fast the production cost, the marginal cost of production has dropped, because they only sell it nominally. It's not even inflation adjusted. That's how far it's dropped from $10,000 20 years ago all the way down to a couple $100 now. How much does that cost to really make it? That's the world we're living in. That's the world that's in front of us. And it's hard. It's hard to accept. What's the Mark Twain quote? Someone was just talking to the other day said this earlier today, that it's easier to fool someone than it is to convince someone that they're being fooled. That's where we lie. Please share this out. The algorithm hates truth. Question everything with boldness, even the existence of God himself. Trust but verify what I'm saying. And this is not financial. It's not financial advice. It is freedom advice. And I look forward to seeing you and studying with you more on the next one.